Good evening, everybody. I'm Dr. Vani this side, and on behalf of Vedantu, I wholeheartedly welcome you all on this wonderful session that we're having today on Kishore Vigyanik Protsahan Yojana, that is KVPY. A little bit about me, a little bit about Vedantu, and then we quickly start with a phenomenal session today. I have been teaching biology for the past 9 years with a lot of my students sitting across top medical colleges of the country, including AIIMS, other top private as well as government medical colleges, and obviously KVPY and International Bio-Olympiads as well. I've been associated with Vedantu for over 1.5 years now. And you will come to know, I don't really have to tell you, you will come to know over the course of this course that it is a brilliant, brilliant platform that can actually enable you to achieve all that you desire. This particular examination, my dear students, could actually be a stepping stone towards your realization and towards you going ahead and achieving your dreams. It's an examination which started way back in 1999. It's run by the Department of Science and Technology in our country. What is the aim behind having this national level competition? Is to nurture young minds to pursue a career in pure science, to be able to pursue a career in research so that they get fellowships, they get scholarships to hone their skills in fields of research, technology, and pure science. So it's an examination whose form come out on Technology Day, that is May 11. A notification comes out. The last date is still there to fill your forms. The last date for this particular examination is on the 31st of August, and the exam shall be conducted on the 4th of November. It's an exam जो आपके अंदर अगर साइंस को लेकर एक स्पेशल रुझाव है तो वो उस रुझाव को बढ़ाने की कोशिश करता है, right? You all, I'm sure now that you are here for the class and you are here to study biology and to solve and to get a rank in KVPY. You all have a fair idea of the examination. If you join this course, and I'm sure you will, we will read and study more about the exam. Today's class is basically on biology, which I'll just come to another few minutes. But let me, in the beginning of the class, tell you a few things about this examination, and then we will progress on to the class. So in case you all, and I hope and pray that some of you do clear this examination, in case you all happen to clear this examination, you get a stipend, you get a fellowship, you get a scholarship. But for that, you cannot pursue engineering or medicine. You have to pursue courses related to pure science. So it could be a BSc, it could be a BS from ISRs or IISCs, it could be a bachelor's in statistics, mathematics, integrated MSc or an MS, which is a 5-year course, a 3-year graduation, and a 2-year post-graduation. So during your studies during this time, you get a monthly stipend of rupees 5,000 in case you happen to clear this examination, and an annual contingency grant of rupees 20,000. This annual contingency grant is given to you so that you are able to take part in the summer programs, you're able to buy books for yourself, you're able to fund your your research work, the gadgets that you require. So it's an annual contingency grant of 20,000. This annual contingency grant becomes 28,000 during your MSc. So during your 1st and 2nd year of MSc, or your 4th and 5th year of the integrated course, this annual grant, which you'll get once in a year, becomes 28,000, and your monthly grant for your library, for your books, for your research material, for your projects becomes rupees 7,000. It is something which is carried on by the government of India right up to your PhD, right? So it's something which makes you extremely independent from a very young age. You don't really need to depend for your ideas, for your research projects on anybody. It's a handsome amount that you get every month, and the government of India makes sure that if you actually have a research bent of mind, there is some support that you are given. But the first step towards your lofty aims is to clear that exam called KVPY. Majority of the students actually start around 2.5 months before the exam. So we are in a good space, and we are running a course which is going to be carried on in a short span of period, but trying to cover the maximum that we can so that you all could get a seat. Right? Now, quickly about the exam. I'll take another 3-4 minutes and tell you very quickly about the exam. As I mentioned earlier, that as and when we join, you join and we form a batch, I will talk more in detail about the exams and how certain tricks of the trade could be utilized by you to do even better. But yes, this exam is basically in 3 different levels. So there's something called SA, there's something called SX, and there's something called SB. SA is what students of 11th give. So these are students who just moved from class 10th to class 11th. That's called the SA batch. Now, because in class 10th, you did not have PCB or PCMB, you did not have any such difference. Therefore, SA exam, you've got to clear or you've got to attempt all 4 subjects. You've got to attempt physics, chemistry, maths, and biology. But as I see that some of you would have chosen biology in class 11 who want to do medicine or would want to do BSc in medical backgrounds in botany and zoology and things like that. So students like these will have chosen PCB. So when you go to in 12th class or when you go to the next class, that is SX, you could choose PCB and leave maths out. But if you're in class 11th, you will have to give all 4 subjects. That means you will have to give physics, chemistry, maths, and biology. All 4 subjects, right? So this is what you have to do. You have to give a physics, you have to give a maths, chemistry, and biology. Now, part 2. So this is part 1, and then there is part 2. So part 1 has all 4 subjects, 15 questions per subject, 1 mark per question. That's 15, 15, 15, and 15. So that's 60 questions and 60 marks. You'll have a part 2 of the same question paper where there'll be 5 questions per subject, but each question will have a weightage of 2 marks now. So there'll be 20 questions with 2 marks weightage, so 40 marks in all. So there are 80 questions, 100 marks, and 3 hours to solve the question paper. But the big glitch is that there is negative marking. There definitely is negative marking, right? Okay, let's move forward. Now, right, so this is the SX exam. Those of you who are in your class 12, a little experienced, have already done class 11. So for you, this is SX. Now, majority of you have already chosen between PCB or PCMB, and some of you definitely will have both the subjects because they're still not sure about what they would want to do, and that's absolutely fine. That's perfectly fine, right? So in here again, the question paper is part 1 and part 2. The part 1 is 1 mark question, 60 questions and 60 marks each, right? Maths, physics, chemistry, and biology. You can see 20 questions, 20 marks each, so that's 1 question, 1 mark. Part 2 will have 10 questions per subject now, and 2 marks for 1 question, so that's 20 marks. So 60 and 40, again 100 marks. Is that clear, everybody? Yeah? But now the thing is that out of the part 2, you can choose any 2 subjects. So if some of you have chosen biology and your physics is not that great, let's assume so. So you could choose biology with chemistry. Or some of you have maths and your chemistry is okay, but your physics is very good because your maths is really nice. You could choose maths and physics, right? In case you attempt 3 subjects out of the 2 that you're supposed to answer, suppose you answer 3 subjects, best of the 3, the best 2 of the 3 will be taken. So it's a very fair examination. It's a very good examination. It's a simple examination, my dear children. It's not a tough examination. Don't think it's a very tough examination. It's a simple examination, but it's a very practical examination. They don't want you to buy hard things. There's no rote learning in the examination. There's absolutely nothing which is critical in terms of memory in the examination. But there is a lot of grasping. There is a lot of understanding. There's a lot of solving, even in biology, that you put 2 and 2 together and say it's 4. So there's the question paper is a lot in terms of that. Yes, and that's precisely why you need some expert help to tell you how exactly we should be doing it, right? So with that, let's come to today's class. Today's class is on biology. The topic that I've chosen is a very enigmatic kind of a topic. It's a very interesting topic. The topic is demystifying human body. So here, if you see, there's a topic called human physiology, right? If you can see here, there's a topic called human physiology. So in human physiology, my dear children, I'm going to talk about right? In human physiology, I'm going to talk about, yes, I'm going to talk about the human body. And there, in the human body, yes, this is the topic that we're going to do today, human physiology. And in the human body, I will start from the top. That's what I'm going to do in today's class. I'm going to start right from here. I'm going to start from the top and keep going down the body. So we talk about the brain, we talk about the eyes, we talk about the nose, the nerves, the mouth, and then the lung, liver, kidney, all of this. So start from the top and start going down. That's how I have envisioned today's lecture. Very, very interesting lecture. And this is a very important topic because every year, and I have got previous year questions. So I'm going to start from, let's say, 2003, 2004. I've picked up all previous year MCQ questions on KVPY from this particular topic. And then we keep going down to 2017. And as we do a particular system, it makes sense. As we do a particular system, side by side, I also do MCQs of the past years which have come from that particular topic, right? So this is what we have to study, KVPY biology syllabus for class 11. I'm starting with essay today, yes, and this is the topic that I have chosen. How do I do? It could be very random. Some questions on liver, some questions on kidney, some questions on heart, some questions on skin, some questions on hormones. But how I have made this lecture from you, I'm going to start from the top. So with that, let's start today's class. Let's kickstart today's class. Done? Chaliye. Okay. Okay, 1 second. Let's move. Okay. Now, so this is today's class. Today's class is on demystifying human body, right? So this is the human body. I start right from here. I start from the top here, and then as I progress, we go down. Right, everybody? Okay. 1 second again. Okay. Right, so this is the brain. Now, before I progress onto the brain, 1 second, before I progress onto the brain, we all see a heart covering on the outside, right? This heart covering, I'm sure all of you are saying that aloud to yourself, this heart covering on the outside of the brain is known as the skull, right? So we do have a heart covering on the outside of the brain. This heart covering, which is on the outside of the brain, is called the skull. Right, we all know it. It's called the skull. Although there have been no questions of the skull till now, there have been no questions on the skull till now, but I will quickly discuss certain things about it with you, right? So this is the skull and this is the brain, right? Let's assume this is the skull and this is the brain. There have been a lot of questions from brain in which we are just coming on to the next 3-4 minutes. We'll move on to brain, right? So there have been questions on brain and this is the skull. The skull is made up of bones, and if you've ever seen carefully, these bones of the skull are like this. Yes, and they are joined to each other. We can see the joints. They're joined to each other through these intersections like these, right? Now, can anyone tell me what are these intersections called? What are the joinings of the skull bone called? What are the joinings of the skull bone? What are the joinings called? The joinings of the skull bone are called as sutures. Write it down. Open your copies, everybody. Whatever I'm telling you could be a probable MCQ question in your KVPY 2018, right? So whatever I'm telling you has to be on your copy. We do not have so much time that I am going to repeat a lot of things. We do not have so much time that, you will have to go through the lecture again and again. It's a crash course. We'll be quick, but we'll still be exhaustive. We'll try and cover everything, but at a certain speed, right? So the joints between the skull bones are referred to as the sutures. Now, one more thing which you should know is that there is a gap between the skull. Suppose this is the skull on top and this is the brain onto which we are just coming in another few minutes. So there is a gap. This gap is filled with a tissue. What could be the function of that tissue which is filling the gap between the skull and the brain? There's a little gap. That little gap has a tissue. That tissue is called as meninges. What is the tissue called? Meninges. The tissue between the skull and the brain is called meninges. What could be the function of meninges? Anybody? I'm sure some of you are saying it is. Yes. Protection. Protection of what? protection of the brain. If there is infection in the meninges, if there is a viral infection, if there's a bacterial infection in the meninges, we see that the meninges swell, they become big. Such a swelling of the meninges is called as meningitis. Gitis, write it down. The tissue between the skull and the brain is called meninges. If the meninges, what is the function of the meninges? Protection. If there is ever a swelling in the meninges, it is called as meningitis. Itis basically means inflammation, right? Now, one last thing. So this is the skull and this is the brain. There are three meninges. Meninges number 1, meninges number 2, and meninges number 3. There are three of them. Meninges number 1, meninges number 2, and meninges number 3. 3 layers. M1 is called as dura mater. Write it down. Very important. They can ask you MCQ. Outermost covering of the brain is dura mater. Outer middle covering of the brain is arachnoid matter. And third, which is closest to the brain, because this is closest to the brain, is known as pia matter. Right? DAP. Remember it as DAP, euphemism, small mnemonic, DAP. DAP. Dura matter, arachnoid matter, pia matter. So with that, let's come to the brain. The outermost bony covering of the brain is called skull. The skull bones. Write it down. Write it down. The skull bones are joined through sutures. Between the skull and the brain, there is a tissue which is protecting the brain. That's called the meninges. Meninges are made up of 3 tissues: dura mater on the outside, arachnoid matter in the middle, and pia mater in the middle. A pia mater in the inside towards the brain, right? Middle is arachnoid matter. And then we have the brain. Is it clear? The joining of the skull, they are the sutures. Inflammation of the meninges is meningitis. So a lot of extra points here. Is that clear? Chaliye. So with that, let's move on to the next slide, right? Okay. Right, now see everybody. Okay, so we have, these are the lobes. This is the brain, and the brain has lobes. Look here, don't look at the diagram, just look here. This is called the frontal, the front. Right behind it is the occipital. So this is the frontal, and right behind it is the occipital. Frontal, behind is the occipital. Frontal, these are called the temples. This part is called the temple. This is called the temple. So this is the frontal. These are the temporal lobes. See my hands? Temple. See my hands? Temple. These two halves on top. These two halves on top here are the parietal. Frontal, temporal, parietal, and this at the back is occipital. Frontal, temporal, parietal, occipital. Very, very, very important slide. I will just show you how. Very important slide. Take a snapshot if you can. Otherwise, copy it down. Very important slide. The lobes and their functions. Every second year it comes in KVPY. Simple, easy, right? And scoring. So let's start with the frontal lobe. This one. This is the seat of all of memory, thinking. Right? People who think more have a more well-developed frontal lobe. Behavior of a person. And movements. Coordination a little bit amongst movements. Which is also there in cerebellum. Right? Temporal lobe. These. See, where does this lobe fall? This you could basically say intelligence. You could basically call it intelligence. Frontal. Memory, intelligence basically. Right? Thinking, again, intelligence basically. Right, everybody? So this, where is this? Where is the temporal lobe? Right above the ear? Right above the ear is the temporal lobe. Most important, which comes in MCQs. Temporal lobe is for hearing. Temporal lobe is for learning and for feelings. People who are more emotional have a well-developed temporal lobe. Right? This is parietal, this here. This is for language, temperature, touch, pressure, all of that is the parietal lobe. Language, temperature, touch, the parietal lobe. Is that clear? Occipital lobe is right at the back. You see, if I want to make a face, I make a face like this. There are the eyes here. Right? See, I'm making a face. There are the eyes here. Let's erase everything and let me show you. See, let me make a face. So this is how it is in the human body. See, exactly like this in the human body. So let me make eyes here. So there will be eyes here. So the nerve from the eyes goes behind directly. Where is the nerve from the eyes going? Look at it. Where is the nerve from the eyes going? Directly at the back. It's hitting right at the back. Very important. Copy down side by side, please. And last is the cerebellum. This is called pons, right? Medulla oblongata, cerebellum, right here at the brainstem, right here, at the base, right? Cerebellum is for balance. People who drink alcohol, these are the people who lose their balance. I'm sure you've seen in movies and otherwise. They lose their balance, right? They are not able to drive well. They kill people on the foot-side pathways sleeping if they are under the influence of alcohol. Their balance, their coordination goes. They don't know where the car is going. They're not able to coordinate their hand-feet movement. Their speech slurs. All of this happens because of cerebellum. Cerebellum is the one where alcohol goes and causes all the problems. The balance of the person goes. He wants to walk right, he'll go left. He wants to walk left, he'll go right. He won't be able to walk straight. He won't be able to talk straight. There'll be no coordination. He'll want to speak something else. The hands will move. The speech will slur. All that will happen from cerebellum. And the brain stem is very, very, very important. Unfortunately, if somebody's brain stem gets injured, that person can be dead. The normal heart rate, regulating the heart, regulating the respiratory system, regulating the temperature of the body, maintaining the temperature of the body at an equilibrium. All of them are functions of the brainstem. Very, very, very important functions. So brain functions are otherwise very important. A lot of MCQs come on brain functions. So I hope you've all copied it and it's clear. Brain functions. You need to remember the lobes and you need to remember the functions of the lobes. We'll do a quick revision. Frontal lobe, temporal lobes, parietal lobes, occipital lobe, and brainstem. Where is the brainstem? Can you see the brainstem is going down? Can you see the brainstem is going down? Can you tell me where is it going? Yes? I'm sure so many of you have guessed it right. It is going down into the spinal cord. So no points for guessing. We will move on to the spinal cord. But before we move on to the spinal cord, let me do previous year questions with you on the functions of the brain so that you will know what kind of questions come, right? I've made slides, year-wise slides I've made on previous year questions topic-wise, right? Okay, let me erase this. One second, erase all drawings, perfect. Yes, so these are the questions and answers. How are the questions and answers? The questions and answers are year-wise, right? So this is, let's move on to the next slide, okay. Yeah, so this is a 2009 question, right? The part of the brain that governs memory and intelligence is what part? Now I told you the frontal lobe is not there. Frontal is not written here. Right? Frontal is not there. But all these lobes, frontal, temporal, correct? Parietal, occipital, all these are part of what? The lobes are part of. These are also referred to as the cerebral lobes. So even if individual lobe is not there, obviously this is a function of frontal lobe, but frontal lobe is not there in the options. All the lobes are part of the cerebrum of the brain. So what will be the answer, my dear children? Please write it down. The answer will be the cerebrum. What will be the answer? Cerebrum. Because all the lobes, that means the frontal lobe, the temporal lobe, the parietal lobe, the occipital lobe, and the brain stem are all part of the cerebrum. Done? Hypothalamus is a gland which is a part of the hormonal system, right? Cerebellum is basically brain stem which moves down as the spinal cord, and medulla oblongata. What is medulla oblongata? And pons varioli form the brain stem. So the lobes are all part of frontal, temporal, parietal, occipital. These four lobes are part of cerebrum. Is that clear? These four lobes are part of cerebrum. Brain stem, medulla oblongata, and cerebellum. These four lobes, we studied all 5 parts right now. So these 4 are part of cerebrum. Brain stem is medulla oblongata and cerebellum. Is that clear? I hope it is. Yes, very important. Every year questions come on this. Every year questions come on this. Let's move forward quickly. Okay. In the human brain, now this is a question that we've just done. 2013 it was repeated, right? 2013 question. Copy this down please quickly as well. Although you will be able to see the recordings. That's the beauty of the system. All the recordings will be made available to you. All the recordings you'll be able to see, right? So in human brain, the sensation of touch, pain, temperature is controlled by, can it be the frontal lobe? No, we just did it. No. So what is going to be the answer? Come on. I told you, where is temporal lobe? Just above the ear. What was the main function I told you about temporal lobe? So what is the answer? Anybody? Right? I'm sure you've answered it. The answer obviously is the parietal. Parietal lobe is the lobe which is required for touch, pain and temperature. Now let me tell you some important facts about the remaining lobe. Limbic system. Agar kahin bhi aap padh rahe ho aur limbic system aa gaya, what is the one word that should come to your mind? In KVPY 2018, agar limbic system aa gaya, what is the one word which should come to your mind? One word. Immediately the word somebody says limbic system, patak, one ghanti should ring in your mind and one word should come. That word is emotion. Remember this. This is the emotional headquarter of the brain. Write it down. Right? Now see, my dear children, I cannot tell in detail about limbic system or we have to score maximum. That's our aim. Right? We have an exam coming on the 4th of November. We have limited period of time. Not that we have to run and rush and do everything and then afterwards we don't know what is happening. No. We have to go with a lot of smart attitude. So we have to do everything. We have to touch upon everything. The details of it, obviously, we will do it in our classes, right? I'm sure you are studying either at Vedantu. I'm very glad if you are my students. And if not, I'm sure you're studying at some of the other reputed institutes across the country, but you joined Vedantu for your crash course on KVPY. Welcome for that. Right. So then, I'm sure now that we'll study over the year, we will realize the details of all of this. Right now, our aim is to obviously know everything, not very, very superficially, but time is not allowing us to do everything in detail. So make notes of every word that I'm uttering. It's very important because I tell you whatever is important from the exam point of view, little, so that it'll help you to score really well in your examination. So wherever the limbic system comes, remember emotional headquarters. Wherever anybody who's more emotional, anybody who has no control over his or her emotions, anybody who's overtly emotional, and at the drop of a thing they start crying and things like that, something is wrong with their limbic system. Temporal lobe is basically above the ear. So anything to do with the ear is the temporal lobe. Frontal lobe is right here, right? Memory and intelligence. And parietal lobe is the one which is sensitive to touch, which is sensitive to pain, which is sensitive to any temperature variation. Is that clear? Right? So you remember now the first diagram is very, very important. Why is the first diagram important? Because they will ask you random questions like this from the first topic. Is that clear? Is it clear, everybody? Yes, that's the kind of questions that they regularly ask you from the first topic, right? Chaliye, let's move forward now. Okay, so that's about reflex. Let me teach you about reflex. Let me teach you about spinal cord, and then we'll come back to this particular question, which was asked in 2014. So you see, every year they're repeating one or the other question on brain. And we'll do each and every question in detail. Let's quickly move on to the spinal cord. I'll tell you about spinal cord, and then we will come back to this particular question, right? Okay. So this space was reserved for questions and we've done questions. Let's move to the brain and the spinal cord in detail now. Right, everybody? Okay. So you see, this is the brain. I told you about meninges, right? What are meninges? These are coverings. Inflammation of the meninges, just add an itis. And I told you about meninges, outside to inside, DAP. Outside, dura matter, middle arachnoid matter, inner pia matter. Outer covering, I told you about the skull, and I told you that the skull bones are joined by sutures. I told you this as well. They can also come in your MCQs. Remember to copy all of these down, please. Remember to copy each one of them. If you just want to sit and listen to the lecture, even that is fine. You will have the recordings available to you at the end of the lecture, my dear students, right? Okay. Now here you will see these two glands. This gland on top is called the hypothalamus. Ek dandi si latak rahi hoti hai. It's hanging from a dhaga-like thing. And this is the pituitary. So we have the hypothalamus, a stalk called infundibulum. What is this dandi dhaga called? infundibulum और इस infundibulum से pituitary gland hang कर रहा होता है. There is a name for pituitary gland. It is the one which controls all our body hormone secretions. There is a name for it. Can anybody tell me the name for it? Can anybody tell me the name for it? Come on, try. Try. Yes, definitely. Yes, the name for it is master gland. It controls all other secretions, right? So you see, this is the cerebellum. See, I'm making the cerebellum. See, right? Now look carefully. Look, it's a tough question. Look carefully. It's a tough question. Look carefully. I'm erasing everything. Can you see a tree-like appearance inside? See, look carefully. It's a tough question. Please see carefully. Can you see a tree-like appearance? The cerebellum has a tree-like appearance that's called as arbor vitae. Vitae means vital, means life. Arbor means tree. So in very simple words, it's a tree of life. What is it? It's a tree of life, the cerebellum, right? And you see the part which I'm drawing now, the part which I'm marking now, it's the brain stem, the BS I'd written in the last, slides, and it's going down the yellow part. Can you see the BS is going down? I'll erase it, you'll be able to see it now. Can you see the BS going down? Yes. So this part which is going down, the brain stem which is going down, is called the spinal cord. What is it? It's the spinal cord. It's going down like that. It's in a canal. It is in a canal. What is a canal called? Obviously, if it's spinal cord, it's called as the spinal canal. The spinal canal is protected by bones. It is protected by bones on the outside. Bones. What are the bones called? Vertebrae. What are the bones called? Vertebrae. Right? Let's look at it in detail. Now let's move ahead and let's look at it in detail. Okay? Chaliye. Now, come. Functions of the spinal cord. Remember this. This is very, very, very important. We will do 2 questions or 3 questions on this. Right? Previous year questions. This is very important. Although this is also important. Let me quickly tell you about these. This is so very, very important. I will discuss this function in detail. 3 function है. क्या-क्या 3 function है? Spinal cord के conduction. Conduction क्या होता है? It what जाना? नीचे से ऊपर information लेके आना. Because किसका बना हुआ है spinal cord is made up of nerves. So what is the function? To conduct impulses from the spinal cord to the body to the spinal cord. The bundles of fibers. Which fibers? Spinal cord, it is very coordinated. Wherever the movements are repetitive, एक जैसी movement, repeated, dancing, singing, एक जैसी movement, repetitive movements, coordinate हुई. जैसे सुरताल बज रहा है, हाथ वैसे वैसे हिल रहे हैं. Wherever there's repetitive movement, wherever there's coordinated movement. Yes, you see a person who's dancing, the eyes are also moving in one direction, the hands are also moving, feet are also moving like that, the waist is also moving in some other direction. So there's so much of coordination of so many muscles, several muscles. So wherever there is coordination of so many muscles, who is involved? Spinal cord, because it starts from here and it goes right till the tailbone. So it helps in coordination of all these muscles. That is why, my dear children, if somebody, you must have seen it, at least in movies and otherwise, you must have read it in newspaper articles, if somebody gets this spinal cord injured because of a fall, because of an injury, because of assault, if somebody's spinal cord gets injured, these people generally become bedridden. Unfortunately, they just sit on the bed. They cannot move their body. Yes, spinal cord is very important because there are 31 pairs of spinal nerves, 31. Which come out of the spinal cord. Is that clear? Right? So wherever there is coordination, see my hands are moving in a certain way. Whatever I'm speaking, similarly my hands are moving. So there's coordination. So coordination of many muscles, not only one. This is only one muscle moving. Wherever there's coordination of many muscles, it's done by the spinal cord. But the most important thing is reflex. I'm sure your class 9th, 10th teachers must have told you n number of times about reflexes. I suddenly touch something moment. Suddenly an insect comes and I do like that to my face. Somebody's teacher wants to come. Nowadays teachers don't slap, but suddenly one annoying teacher wants to come and slap you and you move your face at the back. All of these are what? These are reflexes. Stereotyped response. We know what to do. These are stereotyped response to stimuli. Example, removing hand from hot stove. Nobody will hold the stove even more. Arey garam hai, chalo aur zor se pakdo. Nobody will. The moment you touch something hot, oh, you remove the hand back like that. Right? So at that time, see, this is the spinal cord right here, right here. right here. So the spinal cord doesn't want to waste this much time also. यहाँ से ऊपर signal जाएगा, brain will take हाथ हटाओ, नीचे आएगा, it will take 2 seconds more. So who takes the decision at that time? The spinal cord. The signal, I have touched something hot. So the signal has come all the way to my spinal cord. Now from spinal cord, it will go to the brain. From brain, it will come back. So that much extra time will be taken. So we immediately remove it. Is that clear? That's a reflex action. So you know the definition of reflex action. Now obviously reflex action definition will not come in exam because that's very simple. Certain more things of reflex action will come. This will come in the exam. This is called a reflex arc. कि reflex action कैसे लिया जाता है? How is the reflex action taken? How? Basically, first also let me tell you what are reflex actions. What are anything which is involuntary, anything which is quick, life-saving, jerky. These are all reflex actions. Is that clear? A big insect enters somebody's nose. Lot of dust particle enters somebody's nose. That insect can go and go into the lungs and cause infection. The dust particle can go in the lungs and cause infection. What will that person do? Come on, tell me. What will that person do? Tell me. Yes or no? Come on. Yes or no? Yeah. Sneezing, hiccuping, all of these are what? They're reflex actions. They're involuntary. Can you control your sneeze? Even if you're sitting somewhere having dinner with your friends, going out on a party, dancing, but when a sneeze comes, you've got to sneeze. You do not have control over it. Such actions which are not under the control of our body, which are taken by the spinal cord, are involuntary. They're very quick, they're life-saving, and they're jerky. Now, what happens? Now, I touch something really warm. Suppose there's a glass of water, and suppose it's boiling water. So I touch it. What is there in my skin which will tell me it's boiling water? It's not boiling water. It's normal water which I've kept to drink. Suppose it's boiling water. So I touch it. The moment I touch it, so there are receptors on my skin, and the receptors feel that there is something really, really, really hot. Yeah? Yes? And the receptors send the signal to the sensory neuron. The sensory neuron takes the signal to the spinal cord. This is the spinal cord. So in the spinal cord, this is the sensory, and this is which is going the motor, which is going away. Sensory is coming in. So in between the sensory and the motor, can you see a green color? Can you see a green color in between sensory and motor? I'm sure you can. This is in between. This is known as interneuron. दोनों के बीच. ये दोनों की ये information करेगा okay process and then it will say हाथ हटाओ, remove the hand, remove it quick. It will send the signal. This is the signal which is coming hot. This will process it. Oh God, remove it. Is that clear? So receptor, sensory, integration, motor neuron, effector. Effector is the muscle. The muscle will quickly do like this. Oh God, will do like that. Is that clear? That's how it works. That's how the spinal cord works. Is that clear? Yeah, I'm sure it is. Right? Okay. Okay. चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं. Right? Now, who's the one who's the one who's like the boss of the nervous system? Who's the one who's doing everything on the nervous system? Who's the one who's like carrying signals, bringing? Can you see how beautiful this diagram is? See, these are nothing but what are these? And one highlight of my lecture is I will always teach you with images. So that it becomes very clear for you to understand. Very, very clear. You're immediately able to understand everything just by looking at it. So this is a neuron. Neuron is like the structural and the functional unit of the brain, of the nervous system, which is the one which carries impulses. Any work, who does it in the brain? The neuron. Is that clear? Okay. Let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so this is a neuron. You can see it right here in the center. There is a neuron that I've made, right? So this is how information will go. This part is receiving information, and this part is passing the information. Simple, right? Who receives information? Now there are special structures which receive information. They are called dendrites. See how they are spread like this to catch information. Right? See how they're spread? They catch information. They give it to the cell, the nucleus in the center. This analyzes the information. Then it passes down the tail-like structure. It's called the axon, right? It's called the axon. It's passing the information, right? And axon will give information to next neuron. So here you will see the next neuron. And how will it pass information? Through these bulbs. These are called the axon terminals. Through the ends, it will pass on the information. So this part is called the cyton, which will receive information. This part is called axon, which is passing information. Another name for cyton is soma. The word soma is derived from somatic, which means body. So this is basically cell body. It receives information and the axon transfers information. Is that clear? I hope you're writing side by side. Yes, it's very important. I hope you're all writing side by side, although really the slides will be made available to you, but I'll really appreciate it if you're writing side by side. It will really help you, right? Okay. So before I go any further, let me do some questions because then we'll move on to a slightly tougher topic. So I'll do 3-4 questions and then we'll come back. Okay, chaliye. Now, so we finished till here. Now let's come to this part. A reflex action does not involve. We studied about reflex action. I told you how reflex actions happen. What will reflex action not involve? It's a 2014 KVPY question. What will it not involve? Not. Obviously the brain, right? Because who does reflex action? The spinal cord. So it does not go to the brain. No, no, no. It will require neurons. It will require spinal cord. It will require the muscles. I've touched something warm. It'll go to the spinal cord, come back. I'll remove it. The brain is not involved. Right, everybody? It's simple. And very simple questions. Such questions, I'm sure you should all not do blunders. It's such a simple question. You should all do well in such a question, right? It's definitely the brain. Right? Okay. Okay. So, you know, this is how we are going to proceed throughout the crash course that we will have, topic by topic, subtopic by subtopic, question by question. That's how we're going to do. So that by the end of the time, or by the end of our crash course with you, we are able to touch upon all the topics, including all the previous year questions, right? So that's how the lectures are going to be structured, topic by topic. And between the topics, take up questions so that we exactly know that if I have done this particular topic, where should I be paying attention? What kind of questions do come? There's no point doing the topic and not doing the questions because then you wouldn't know what kind of questions come. It's a crash course. We have limited time and we have to judiciously use this limited time so that we are able to do maximum in a limited span of time. Is that clear, everybody? So what our plan is, that topic, a big topic, break it down into smaller topics. The big topic is the human physiology. We've broken down into brain, the spinal cord, the eyes. I'm going to come to them now. Right? So big topic, break it down into smaller topics, smaller topic questions, smaller topic questions, smaller topic questions. That's how we're going to do it, right? Okay, so we've done this. Let's move on to the next question. 1 second. Okay. Now, the cell that transfers information, you know it. I've just done it with you. The cell that transfers information about pain, about touch, ऐसा modify होके आ सकता है, about temperature, right? Anything to the brain. जो भी ब्रेन को इंफॉर्मेशन देगा, इंफॉर्मेशन कुछ भी हो सकता है, इंफॉर्मेशन पेन, टच, टेम्परेचर, प्रेशर, कुछ भी हो सकता है, right? Beautiful color could be an information. Lovely curtains in the background could be an information, right? Information could be anything. Is that clear? So who's that cell? Neuron. Histoblast is a cell of a tissue, baby tissue. Vitamins and minerals are nutrients. Nothing to do with passage of information. Blastocyst is a cell of the human embryo, right? It's a cell of the human embryo. No question mark there. Yes, it's a cell of the human embryo. Exclamation, in fact. Yes. Okay. So this is the kind of question which comes, right? Let's move on now. Now see, sneezing. Yeah, I was just feeling like sneezing. What is it? Involuntary. It's the neuron, right? It's involuntary reaction. I have no control over it. Okay, which one of these is a correct path for reflex action? Now this is a nice, it's a good question. It's a little tricky. Come on, try to do it. Which of the following is the correct path for reflex action? करेक्ट पाथ। रिफ्लेक्स एक्शन ऐसे होगा, दिस इज हाउ रिफ्लेक्स एक्शन विल हैपन। कैसे होगा बताइए? Who will pick it up? Oh, it's very hot. Receptors. Where? What will they give it to? Sensory neurons. They'll give it to the spinal cord. They'll give it to the motor neuron. And effector is the muscle. हाथ हटाएगा. It will start. Receptor motor को देगा? नहीं. Effector is the muscle जो काम करेगी वो शुरू करेगी? नहीं. Sensory neuron शुरू करेगा? नहीं. Receptor शुरू करेगा. Is that clear? Write this correct statement down. Very important. It can come again. It's a 2010 KVPY question. Receptor, sensory neuron, spinal cord. There is no brain again. See, there is no brain. Motor neuron and effector. Is that clear, my dear children? Yes? Any doubts? I hope everything is going clear. You're all understanding what kind of questions come. Right? Now, if a person's spinal cord is injured, see so many questions from spinal cord. If a person's spinal cord is injured, which of the following functions might be affected? Talking? No. It's not involuntary. Seeing? No. This is related to the, what is this? I told you, yes, come on. Occipital lobe. Yes, I hope you remember. Hearing, come on, we did this also today. Temporal lobe, correct. So what will be affected? Involuntary. Sneezing. This is going to be affected. Is that clear? Hiccuping. Anything which is involuntary is going to be affected if a person's spinal cord is affected. Right? Simple question. Yes, everybody? Okay, let's move on. Now, if a person's spinal cord is injured, which of the following functions might be affected? We've just done it. It is sneezing. Right? Now, let's come to the nerves. Sometimes question comes on nerves. ब्रेन से कौन सी नर्व्स निकलती हैं और स्पाइनल कॉर्ड से कौन सी नर्व्स निकलती हैं, right? Now this is a very vast topic. It's a very vast topic. It's slightly tough topic, but don't worry. I have made it in a very interesting way and in a little crisp and concise way. Very crisp and very concise way. So what will happen if it's very crisp and concise is that you will be able to do maximum if a question comes in minimum amount of time. That's very, very, very important. Is that clear, everybody? So let's quickly get done with it, right? Chaliye. Now I'm going to tell you about the nerves, right? And then once we do the nerves, you're going to come to the human eye, nearsightedness, farsightedness. A lot of questions come on this also. So that's how we are going to proceed, topic by topic, and then question by question, right? Okay, चलिए nerves पे आते हैं. So nerves हमने basic तो कर लिया है कि nerves क्या होती है. Nerves में axon होता है, cytron होता है. We know the basics of the nerves. So let's come to it in details कि कौन कौन सी अलग-अलग तरह की nerves होती हैं. Let's come to them, right? Can you see how many pairs of nerves can you see? You can all see that, I'm sure. Yes, how many pairs of nerves can you see? Let's change your pen color and make it a little nicer pen color. So let's make it orange. Nice. Yes, you could see 12 pair of nerves, everybody. These nerves come out of the brain. They come out of the... That's why they're called as crania is another name for skull. Copy this down. There are 12 pairs of nerves, you can see them. And they come out of the skull. That's why they're called as cranial nerves, right? What are they? Cranial nerves. Give me a second, please. Come here. Look here. Please look here. Pay attention, pay attention, pay attention. Copy this, please. Right? It's important. It can come in the exam. On occasion, our trusty truck acts funny. Very good vehicle anyhow. OOO, TT, AF, VG, VAH. These are the 12 nerves. You don't need to know the second part. Even if you don't know it, it's okay. Retina को आप move कर सकते हो? Retina को move करके कुछ और कर सकते हो? No, it's a sensory nerve, right? So olfactory, smell, sensory. नाक के अंदर के एपिथेलियम आप मूव करके कुछ कर सकते हो? जिस नर्व से आपने स्मेल कर रहे हो वो आप सिर्फ स्मेल ही करोगे, आप उससे और कुछ नहीं कर सकते. सो दीज आर सेंसरी, बट सेंसरी मोटर नॉट रिक्वायर्ड. सेंसरी का मतलब है कि वो सिर्फ सेंसेशन लेकर जाएगी ब्रेन, और मोटर का मतलब है वो मसल या वो नर्व क्या कर सकती है? ठेंगा दिखा सकती है, मूव कर सकती है, इट कैन मूव. इज दैट क्लियर? Oculomotor eye movement के लिए है. Trochlear also for eye. Remember these are for eyes. Just remember this much. Trigeminal is for facial sensation. This facial sensation, right? I'm not a big fan of Salman Khan. I don't know if somebody of you are big fans of Salman Khan. You know he suffers from acute pain in the face. It's severe pain that he suffers from face. If you read some tabloids and articles on him, you'll come to know he suffers from extreme pain. The facial pain. He suffers from a disease called trigeminal neuralgia. Right? So face का जो दर्द होता है, that is because of this. Abducens आंख को उठाती है और नीचे करती है eyelash को. Facial is again entire face. Vestibulocochlear is an important nerve for you. Important nerve. इसका नाम होता है auditory. It helps us in hearing. It helps us to hear, to listen. Auditory, vestibulocochlear nerve. It helps us to listen, to hear. Auditory nerve. Auditory nerve. ये brain के अंदर, कान के अंदर से signal ले जाती है brain पे, so that we are able to hear. Glossopharyngeal is for taste. Something very tasty. Which nerve? The glossopharyngeal nerve. Vagus is basically in the heart, in the body. Gag reflex. किसी को vomiting वगैरह आती है तो भी vagus काम करती है. Shoulder shrug. Accessory. Swallowing, hypogloss. So I'll tell you which can come. This can come. This can come. This can come. This can come. That's all. That's all. Otherwise, if you can remember it, but 1, 2, 5, and 7 very important. Is that clear? Write it down, please. 1, 2, 5, 7 is important. I hope you're all understanding. I hope you're all enjoying the class. I am having a very good time taking your class, right? So 1, 2, 5, 7 very important from KVPY point of view. You go to the next level, go to Olympiads and all. I'll make you remember everything. Yes. I'm erasing it and let's move on to the next slide now. Okay. Okay. So I told you how to remember them. Yes. Now these are the nerves. This was the cranial nerves. The one that we did till now were the cranial nerves. The ones that we just finished doing till now. Now what you're seeing right now are the spinal nerves. How many spinal nerves do we have? 31. How many cranial nerves do we have? 12. ये जरूर आ सकता है एग्जाम में. कितनी spinal nerves है? 31. 31. कितनी cranial nerves है? 12. 12. This can definitely come in the exam, right everybody? This can definitely come in the exam, right everybody? Okay, चलिए. तो देखो ये spinal cord से निकल रही है, जो यहाँ से निकलेगी गले के पीछे से, वो है cervical nerves. Cervical यहाँ से निकलेगी, यहाँ से. Right? How many are there? 8. Thorax, chest के पूरे नीचे के पास निकलेंगे. How many are there? 12. Lower back से जो निकलेंगी. How many are there? 5. Lumbar. Tailbone के पास से जो निकलेंगी. Coccyx and sacrum, bum के पास से 5 and 1. So there are a total of 31 pairs of spinal nerves. ये देखो spinal cord जा रही है. I'll draw it with another color so that you'll be able to understand it. 1 second. Pen. Choose a pen color. Let me draw it with light blue. Yeah, see this now. ऐसे स्पाइनल कॉर्ड जा रही है, सी वर्टिब्रल कैनाल के बीच में, और क्या देती हुई जा रही है? ये क्या निकल रही है इसमें से? स्पाइनल नर्व्स. इसलिए तो पूरी बॉडी की मसल्स को कंट्रोल करती है और आपस में कोऑर्डिनेशन करवाती है. दैट इज द रीजन व्हाई इट्स कंट्रोलिंग एंड कोऑर्डिनेटिंग द एंटायर पार्ट ऑफ द ह्यूमन बॉडी. सो 31 pairs and 12 pairs. Is that clear? Is that clear? I hope it is. Yes, everybody, are you all following? Please start copying side by side. It's very important. Whatever I'm telling you is very important, right? Now, before we move on to the human eye, let's quickly finish certain points or certain questions on these, and then we'll come back, right? So we finished this on the spinal cord. Yes. Ab ye bataiye. Look at the question. It's a nice question. It's a very nice question, right? The auditory nerve, it's a 2014 question. So like they have asked on auditory nerve, they can ask on any nerve. किसी एक nerve पे question पूछ सकते हैं. मैंने आपको बताया कौन कौन सी nerves important हैं. Auditory nerve का एक और नाम क्या होता है? You just know this here. If they modify the question, they give you this question as vestibulocochlear. कहाँ की nerve होती है ये? Ear की. क्या करने में मदद करती है? Hearing. Right? So इसको input कहाँ से मिलता है? आवाज जो सुनाई दे रही है, I'm speaking, you're all able to hear. That's because you're all getting an input. You're all able to hear it. So from where is it getting an input? From where is it able to hear? From where is it getting an input? Eustachian tube? No. Eustachian tube का काम क्या होता है? बैलेंस करना, हमारी बॉडी को बैलेंस करना. ये ईयर को नोज से कनेक्ट करती है. टिम्पैनिक मेम्ब्रेन एक ड्रम होता है जिसपे वाइब्रेशंस कान की जाके बजते हैं, ढम ढम ढम, और हमें सुनाई देता है। बट क्या यहाँ से ऑडिटरी नर्व स्टार्ट होती है? नहीं, ये तो एक्सटर्नल ईयर के और मिडल ईयर के बीच में होता है। इसमें सिर्फ वाइब्रेशन बजती है, ढम 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 ढम। ऑसिकल्स होते हैं 3, देयर आर 3 स्मॉल बोन्स। I'll do the structure of the ear with you. We have time? I think we have. Yes, are you all understanding? I hope you're really enjoying the class. Let me do the structure of the ear with you. Yes, look here now. This is very interesting. Look here, everybody. I'll do it with the black pen so that you're all able to understand properly. Now look. You see this part, everybody? This is the pinna of the ear. Then there is a hole in the ear. It is called the EAM. I'm doing it very quickly, right? I'm doing it very quickly. You could quickly, but still at the time and at the pace that you can understand, I'm telling you all the things that are required for you. So there's a hole. You can all see it. It's called the external. Copy it down with me, please. Acoustic meatus. If you're not copying it now, copy it later on. It leads into a canal, which is called the external canal or external auditory canal. इसमें वैक्स होता है, सबको पता होगा, कभी ना कभी सबने, everybody has removed wax. Wax is called as cerumen. MCQ question can come. Cerumen. See, extra information. It's secreted from glands called as ceruminous glands. Ceruminous glands, right? It will lead to this part. This is called as tympanum or the eardrum. तो जो भी मैं आपसे बात कर रही हूँ, I'm saying, oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I'll draw it again. Never mind. Yeah, that's all that we drew till now, right? So जो भी मैं आपसे बात कर रही हूँ, this is the tympanum. I'm sure you had copied, everybody. This is the tympanum. This is the canal. This will have wax. The wax is called cerumen. It's secreted by glands called the ceruminous glands, right, everybody? And this is called the external acoustic meatus. छेद है ये, और ये रहा पिन्ना. External acoustic meatus. मैं लिख देती हूँ. External acoustic. Acoustic का मतलब होता है सुनना, sound. Acoustics. Meatus. Meatus का मतलब होता है छेद. Right. Right. I wanted to change the color now. Yeah. So मान लीजिए ये sound wave आई. See, sound wave. तो बजी ढम. ऐसे एक और wave आएगी ढम ढम. Where will it go and hit? The drum. Where is it going and hitting? The drum. So let me now again use some other color and show you. इसके आगे 3 bones लगी होती हैं. Bone number 1. Bone number 2. Tympanum पे लगी है देखो. And bone number, oh, 1 second. Let's take a pink here. Okay. 3. Can you see the 3 bones? Yeah, they'll be joined to each other. Bone number 1, bone number 2, and bone number 3. Yes, everybody? So these 3 bones are known as, in that particular order, 1, 2, 3, malleus, incus, stapes. They're very small bones. Very, 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 very small bones. That's why they're called as ossicles. क्या कहलाती हैं? Ossicles. Is that clear? Right? This is the smallest bone of the body, stapes. अब stapes जाकर एक गोले पे लगेगी, inner ear वाले गोले पे. इसको ये गोला है, see how it's spiral like this. और बीच में यहाँ से nerve उठेगी. कौन सी nerve? Vestibulo cochlear nerve उठेगी. बीच से nerve जाएगी कहाँ? आपको पता है, I've told you. So ये नर्व कहां से उठ रही है? ये बीच के गोले को हम क्या कहते हैं? Cochlea. What do we call it? We call it the cochlea. Is that clear? Now let's go to the next one, right? I'll have to erase the slides as of now. It'll be available to you. So where is this nerve coming from? Tell me, where is the nerve coming from? The nerve is coming from cochlea. Is that clear? Last ossicle stapes है, उससे नहीं आती. Tympanic membrane से नहीं आती. Eustachian tube is between middle ear and nose, and it's used for, I just told you, balancing of the human body. Right? आपको पता है कि we sit on merry-go-round, and then the moment you get down from merry-go-round, we're like, oh my god, chakkar aa gaya, oh my god, chakkar aa gaya. And somebody is doing Bharatanatyam, Kathakali or something like that, and they go round and round after some time, they're like, oh god, we're dizzy. That's because of the eustachian tube. Is that clear? But where does the nerve come from? The nerve comes from the cochlea. So it's a nice question, slightly tough question. Is that clear, everybody? I hope you're able to follow what kind of questions come. Yes, I hope you're able to follow what kind of questions come. It's very, very interesting. You need to understand, appreciate what kind of questions come. Only then would you be able to read and then solve MCQs. Right? So now I have to come to the mouth and I have to come to the saliva and the eyes. That brings us to kind of 1 hour of the lecture. And I'm going to start from here in the next class, right? I'm going to start from here. So I kind of did the brain and the nerves in today's class. My topic, as I told you right in the beginning, was, where is it? Yes, human physiology. So you know how I'm going to progress with the lecture. I'm then going to come to the eyes. After the eyes, I'm going to come to the mouth. After the mouth, I'll go down, go to the esophagus, go to the liver and the gallbladder and the pancreas. Liver, gallbladder and pancreas is favorite of exam. Lot of questions from the liver, lots and lots of questions from the gallbladder, and lots of questions from the pancreas, right? So like that, we'll try and do all questions of SA and all questions and topics of SX, right? All right, my dear students. So that's kind of enough for from my side for today. You'll be able to, all of you will be able to go through the revised, the recorded versions. Go through them, make your notes. Whatever I teach you should be more than sufficient. Whatever we teach you here at Vedantu, especially biology, whatever I'm teaching you should be more than sufficient. You don't really need to refer to anything else because they're very holistic notes. I'll discuss everything and only then tell you the things which are required. So looking forward to seeing you when the regular batches start. And like I've already told you, I'm going to do topic, MCQs, topic, MCQs, topic, MCQs, so that you're able to do stupendously well in your exams. As always, I had a fabulous time teaching you. I hope you two had a wonderful time learning from me and hope to see you all in maximum numbers for the class. All right, bye then, signing off. I'll see you all in the next class. Bye-bye.